Face the Music, A Life Exposed by Paul Stanley. This is the author. Chapter 13. Hey, that's rock and roll. No, Ace, that's shit. No band, no label, no gear, no problem. We really need a lead guitar player. That was the ad we placed in the Village Voice. And when we opened the door to our rehearsal space on the appointed day in December 1972, we had a lot of takers, more than 18,000. But becoming a rock star meant looking like a rock star. So we had some specific rules: no bald heads, no beards, and no excess weight. One guy came in a Nehru jacket and beads around his neck. He couldn't speak a word of English. His wife accompanied him as an interpreter. He's never played before. He's from Italy, she explained. He was a nice guy, but pretty clueless about rock and roll. Another guy named Bob Kulick was a really good player, but he didn't fit the look we had in mind. After a long and mostly fruitless freak show, a guy walked in wearing one red sneaker and one orange sneaker. He looked at me and said, "I don't want to compromise the audition, but what about me?" "Hey man, shut up and wait your turn," we told him. Eventually, we plugged in with him, and almost from the minute we started playing, something happened that took us to a completely different place. 1 minute we had been one thing, and a minute later, with this guy named Ace Frehley, we became something else, something undeniable. Working with Ace came very organically. His playing reminded me of Jeff Beck, and after practicing with him for about a month, we were ready to make our live debut. The next key to moving forward was coming up with a band name that was classic and timeless. Kiss. I knew this was the perfect name. We were not knights in Satan's service or devil worshippers or anything else. We were Kiss. Thankfully, all the band members had voted in agreement with the name when I came up with it. We also wanted a band logo to make the ads and posters look good. Ace had jotted down a logo for the flyer for our Bleecker Street loft shows. I took his sketch and used it as the basis for a series of Kiss logos I designed, ultimately arriving at the one that has adorned all things Kiss for the past 40 years. The SS in the logo actually consists of one S that is thicker than the other, with different proportions, and they aren't exactly parallel because I just eyeballed it. Ace's concept was closer to the Nazi SS. I certainly suspected that was his inspiration. He often joked about coming from Germany, and the fact that a few years later he bought Nazi memorabilia on our first European tour confirmed this in my mind. Now, I'm sure there are people who collect that stuff who aren't Nazis or anti-Semites, but Ace was not one of them. Gene and I both hated Springtime for Hitler from Ace's solo LP. In addition to being offensive and insulting, his total disregards of song structure hurt my feelings. Verse, chorus, bridge, it all meant nothing to him, because that wasn't rock and roll, that was what Jews did. Ace was somebody who went out of his way to say things I found offensive about people's faces. Jews and blacks were often those people. Still, I sensed the discrimination more than I saw it. That couldn't be said for some of our crew members, like our road manager, J.R. Smalling, the guy who came up with our stage introduction. "You wanted the best, you got the best." J.R. was black, and for several days Ace kept referring to J.R. as Leroy. I also heard the N-word hurled around a lot. I'm sure some people thought, "What an asshole," but I thought, hey, that's my boy. We laughed at Ace a lot. He was amusing, he was an oddball. He constantly told jokes. But sometimes it had a darker side that corresponded to things we overheard. Things about how we were money-hungry Jews or kikes. He had a lot of nicknames for us. Gene was Cheap Gene the Nazarene, and I was Stanley the One-Eared Jew. Hey, that's rock and roll. No, Ace, that's shit. Initially, though, he was just a likable kook. Kiss shot a video for I Love It Loud on December 27, 1982, with Ace. He was very odd-looking anyway, and in that video, he looked extra odd as he goose-stepped in the background. Then he went with us to Europe for some lip-synced promotional appearances at the time of the release of Creatures of the Night. Casablanca put us up in the Chateau Marmont, where hookers and junkies crashed. I roomed with Ace in a two-story bungalow off in a private section of the grounds. The first day, Ace went out for a walk and I decided to take a shower. While I was in there, the bathroom started to smell horrible. I pulled open the curtain to see what it could be, and there was Ace sitting on the toilet taking a dump. "What are you doing in here?" I yelled. There were other bathrooms in the place after all. He just shrugged. Then he said, "Sorry that it bothers you." What the hell? When we flew back to the States, that was it. Ace was gone for good. "I'm actually responsible for the whole reunion," Ace said. "Everybody should be thanking me. This tour only happened because I quit. Are you fucking kidding me?" This is Paul Stanley. Thank you for listening.
Audible hopes you have enjoyed this program.